have noticed that this is probably the best time in India's history till now, where the government is completely out there to support what the startups from the ground are doing. And therefore, it brings us to the point as to what is it that the startups really need? Where is it that we're really getting stuck? What are the changes that are needed to be made? And where can government help us? And this is what this workshop is focused on. So I'll start with Pranav. And Pranav's company, Porter, has been aggregating vehicles. So Pranav, what are the regulatory challenges that an aggregating entity such as Porter faces? And where do you think government support can step in to promote companies such as yours?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the opportunity today. So we started Porter around 7 years back with an intent to make intracity logistics more efficient and accessible to everyone. Now we have seen that customer has a requirement, user has a requirement to move goods anywhere as small as an envelope to as big as an elephant. So he needs to move goods from 5 kgs up to 5,000 kgs. And we have been trying to offer those services to our customer. And we see that the categories that are available in the market from a product perspective, from a vehicle perspective, are bikes, which can carry up to 20 kgs. And then they start from 3-wheeler cargo, which carries 500 kgs and so on and so forth. But the market has a very large, strong need for 100-200 kg parcel cargo movement, which is currently underserviced. Now, there is no product that is available in the market that sort of specifically caters to this kind of a requirement. There's only one product, but it's not a cargo product, it's a passenger product. It is 3-wheeler auto category, which we all use while we are transporting ourselves. That is well suited to ensure 100-200 kg movement within a city. But the current regulatory environment does not allow dual usage of passenger vehicles. Therefore, auto 3-wheeler passenger cannot be used for goods movement. Now, this kind of regulatory bottleneck does not allow us to offer a better solution to the society in general. There are a lot of societal benefits. If you remember 10 or 15 years back, even 2-wheeler, the only application it had was only passenger movement, personal usage. But because it was allowed for commercial usage, we see a lot of new business models evolve. We see e-commerce, food delivery entirely based on 2-wheeler biker delivery model. It has led to a lot of employment generation. Similar thing will happen if we allow 3-wheeler autos to carry goods as well. If they are safe enough to carry passengers, they are safe enough to carry goods also. And there are a lot of parallels examples in outside countries like US, Dubai, Philippines, where passenger vehicles are allowed to carry goods as well. This will lead to better access for last mile logistics, a better service for 100-200 kg parcel, and better income for these auto drivers whose assets are underutilized, especially hit hard due to COVID. And it will reduce logistics costs for India. And overall, the point I'm trying to make is that overall it will make a positive contribution to the demand side, supply side, and overall logistics ecosystem in intracity.
Great, Pranav, that's quite a bit of an eye-opener. And I think it is almost like a no-brainer as to why one should not allow, or one should rather allow 3-wheelers to carry commercial goods and be a goods carrier. Along with it, you mentioned about elephants being carried. One of the elephants in the room actually is the fact that there were a large number of apps that were banned in India under Section 69A of the IT Act. In fact, it was done right next door in the room that I'm sitting next to. And for 3 days, 3 nights, the government machinery worked on ensuring that the Indian app ecosystem is secure, is safe, and therefore a large number of apps that were threatening the security of this country was banned. Subsequently, we see many of them popping up as what we at C-DEP call them as Benami apps. What's your view on that, Pranav, and how does it impact the security of the nation and the app ecosystem in India?
So we have seen similar thing happen in our sector as well. Now, we appreciated the decision taken by the government last year to sort of ban these apps, which were largely by Chinese companies or Chinese nationals. And I think logistics being a very key to infrastructure, it's like a bloodline to the economic activity. And if that network, if logistics network is controlled by an adversary nation, then any dispute that we have, be it border issues or any dispute, we don't have any leverage while we are discussing with that adversarial nation. So I think it's a very, very important that we as a country take steps and ensure that key infrastructural networks don't fall into those hands. Now we see that Lalamoo was banned last year, but now they have come back again in a new avatar, which is a Benami route. And the source code, the source code is same. The app versions are same. It's basically the same app with a different skin, the different name. And it's difficult to track because it's routed through a Benami channel. I think the entire intent that the government had earlier is being beaten by the way they are circumventing the rules in India.
So that clearly is a violation of the order that was passed under Section 698. Thank you, Pranav. And I do realize you had a flight to catch and you kind of changed your timings, but thanks for being part of this workshop. I'll move to Aprameya, who's founded, in fact, a key social media platform and perhaps the only large social media platform in this country which supports all the languages. And therefore, Aprameya, you're in the best position to tell us what are the challenges that startups face with respect to a level playing field, given the fact that you went against established large digital monopolies. And what support do you think the government should extend to apps such as yours to ensure that you succeed and get a level playing field in order to succeed?
Yeah, thanks a lot. So the reason why we exist as Koo is because no other app was giving a stage for the wider audiences of India, which wasn't comfortable with English, to come and express themselves in public. So there are closed internet networks and then there are open internet networks. On an open internet network, there was nobody else who encouraged or gave a comfortable environment for people to come and express their thoughts and opinions. So what was happening was the larger audience of India, which only speaks languages, wasn't being involved in everyday conversations of what matters to the country or what matters to them or what matters around them, right? So that is why we exist. And because we've, kind of like realized, so the opportunity came because, a large number of people got access to internet all of a sudden through their phones. And as a result of that, we've come through the opportunity a lot later than other social media apps across the world. Now, in the journey of building this company, we're still very early. We're 1.5 years old. Whereas most social media apps are, at least decade and a half year old. So they've gone through their early journey of growth, adapting by early users and growth, and then gotten into monetization. And with the very healthy monetization that they have, they are able to now enter smaller markets or next markets and make sure that no local player kind of thrives. So I think that is the challenge in front of us, right? So how do we, with much lesser money, acquire more love from the users using a localized approach? And the support that we can garner is basically, by the government even saying, okay, these are Indian apps. Use extremely highly high reach networks like India Post or BSNL or whoever else to basically help Indian apps spread the word. Like, you say, okay, these are trustworthy apps made in India, vetted by the Indian government to say, okay, they will always follow the Indian law, all of those things. And then, give a bunch of Indian apps the opportunity to get whitelisted and promoted in highly distributed networks by the government. That will be great to do. And, when it comes to any compliance, additional compliance that is required, if there is additional burden in terms of cost or anything like that, it'll be great if, Indian companies are looked at slightly differently so that the burden of cost of, additional compliance is not there. And Indian companies will definitely comply, basically make sure that, the extra burden of financial burden is not there. That's about it.
Right. No, thank you, Apramya. In fact, yours is a business that is based on network effect. So an established player really challenges any new player that comes in. But moving to Amit, who runs EasyGov, your startup is in a business which is not really impacted by the network effect. Where do you think you're getting curtailed in terms of being adopted by the government, in terms of being procured by the government? What are the changes that you're looking forward so that startups like yours, which are in the business of GovTech, is able to be used by the government to make the transformations that are needed for this country?
First of all, thank you, Jajit, for this platform. And yeah, I will say that two part. One is obviously getting the procurement done, and post the procurement, adopting the solution. That also is very significant. When we talk about the procurement, actually the government procurement was never meant for procuring a data company. It was till now more of a technology procurement policies. Now, the whole technology is no more a technology, it's a data driven. It's a, what we say that from a tech age, we are into the data age. So the procurement also has to change and should align with the data procurement. When I say, right, it's whenever you develop a platform, as soon as you have launched for the public, it no more rocket science to replicate that platform and kind of launch another product. But the point is, the value is data and the intelligence that the company has, and that data can be used for several purposes. So my proposal, right, the way probably the government procurement, especially for the GovTech, can be simplified if data that is being captured through technology platform procured by the government is allowed to use for related purpose. For example, there is a scholarship scheme of the government of India for a minority student or for a SC/ST student. My platform like EasyGov determines the eligibility, do the data check, and find a artificial intelligence based need score that this student should get a scholarship. What we found that government has this much money that will able to capture the needy student up to the score, let's say 78 or 68. But there are still eligible and verified people who need a scholarship in the need score bracket from 78 to 60. Now we say that, okay, we will invite other organizations like Ajim Hassan Premji Foundation, Sivnadar Foundation, and other the foundation donor agencies who willing to provide this scholarship to the student. And we say that you can pick up the student from here. They are eligible, they are verified, right? And their need score is established. So there is no chance of, so for them also it's a beneficiary acquisition cost. So if I am able to monetize my data by providing beneficiaries to the foundation, I found my monetization for my platform. Government gets it free of cost, and still data is not misused. It is used for a right purpose for the beneficiary. So we have to be a bit innovative in terms of procurement of a data company in GovTech.
Right. No, very, very interesting, Amit. And I think it's high time that the government systems are changed towards being able to procure data in that sense. Also, as part of this ministry's initiative and pushed by IAGF and Center for Digital Economy Policy Research, the government app store, which is the M-Seva app store, has now been opened up to all startups. And I believe Ku is already one of the first startups to have hosted their app onto that platform. I believe EasyGov is also in the pipeline, and so is Porter. One of the people who is running the show is Kapil Kant from C-DEP. So I'll request Kapil to actually walk us through what is M-Seva and how other startups can benefit from this initiative that has been taken up by the ministry. Over to you, Kapil.
Thank you, sir. So I will share my screen, then I will start. So my presentation is visible?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
First of all, I thank you to Jajit Bhattacharya and IIGF to helping us for amplifying the mobile Seva platform so that we can reach to the private organization, government and startup, so that they can host their application on mSeva App Store. Now I will walk through the Mobile Seva App Store. The Mobile Seva App Store is basically the government-owned mobile application hosting platform. It has been created to provide the Indian application developers, they can host their application on the single platform. The mSeva App Store is basically countrywide initiative launched by MIT. It is for private company, startup, PSUs, government sectors. They can provide their application on Mobile Seva App Store. Earlier, this App Store is only for this application is only for the government organization. So government organization can host their application free of cost and citizen can download the application and avail the services. Recently, MIT has opened up for the private sector, and some of the private companies are there who is also one of the startup is coming on the Mobile Seva App Store. So now any Indian application developer, like from the private sector or from the individual developer, they can host the application. The beauty of this platform is basically it is designed, developed, maintained by the government. It is promote under the Atmanirbhar Bharat mission. That is one of the mission under Atmanirbhar Bharat. And it is also the one-stop solution for all type of public services, so that any citizen can come here and they can avail the public services that is available on the India. And it is also the trusted and secure environment and the platform because it is managed by the government. Right now, it is free of cost for next 2 years, and we will host only the signed APK file on our App Store. Now come to the security part. Basically, in the security, before whatever the application come on the Mobile Seva App Store, we will thoroughly test. We will divide the application in the 3 categories. First is basically the static application. Another category is basically bank-related application. On third is a non-bank related applications. So we have a certain test cases we will perform according to the application level. So in the basically we will perform static testing as well as the dynamic testing, because C-DEP is also as a cert in panel agency. So we will perform the complete VAPT testing. In the testing, we will perform the certain test case like data security, secure communication, and identify the dangerous, basically permissions, secure logic, app logic is there or not. What are the cryptography algorithms they are used in the application, that is proper or not. Secure authorization and authentications, and integrity check. Basically, this type of test cases we will perform all the application that will be hosted by the developer. And if the application is past our security guidelines or security parameters, then the application will be live. Otherwise, we will share the complete report to the developer. In the complete report, what are the vulnerability we will find during the testing, with the how to resolve the vulnerabilities. We will also provide the best practices document to the developer, user manual to the developers, and some sample code, so that they can easily fix the vulnerability and resubmit the application on Mobile Seva App Store. That is basically security. What are the security we will check each and every application that is come for hosting. Now, what are the benefit for the startup or the private companies? Basically, we will provide support, and we also offer the provide the developer account on our App Store. Through that developer account, they can upload the number of applications. There is no restriction of the application. Only we are not providing application that is related to the gambling or that is related to objectable content is there. So we are not allowed to host that application. Otherwise, we will allow all type of application that is related to the health, related to the basically learning, games, social welfare applications, all type of category we will provide. And right now it is free of cost. There is no secure costing is there. And we will done the security audit internally by our internal C-DEP team is there. We will share the complete VAPT report with the developer, and release management is also there in case developer wants to know what is the version they have released. So complete release management is also there through the developer account. And if the beta version want to release certain group, small group, that facility is also there. So certain type of facility is there and the searching is there. And we also provide the category wise hosting based on the state specific application. For example, particular the application is related to the Delhi. So you can host in the Delhi sector. And the category is also there, domain wise categories also there. For example, health, social welfare, education. So you can host the startup or any private company or private player or government can host the application based on the category also. So it is a overall status of the Mobile Seva App Store. Right now we have around 1,030 applications that is hosted on this platform, and around 8 crore application is downloaded by the users, citizens of India. And we have already connected with 1,000 plus developers. Recently, we are allowing developer account. Earlier, we will host through the admin account only because it is a closer group for the government sector only. Now it is open for the private. So you can directly create an account, and it is a creation of account, upload of the account, and the reporting. It is completely online. There is a no manual intervention is required. So you can create your account, create. After the verification, we will approve your account. Then you can host your application. We will take 2 days time to test your application and share the report with you. After you are fixing the vulnerability, you can resubmit again. We will check and we will update the live the application on the Mobile Seva App Store. So in case you have any suggestion related to App Store, or you have any query, you can directly write to us, to MIT, to C-DEP, or to IIGF also, and C-DEP. You can also write us, and you can share the suggestion also, because we are creating a ecosystem for the application developers so that they can host the application, Indian application on Indian App Store. So we also request you can share your suggestion, your feedback, so that we can modify our App Store and we will provide the better services to the citizen of India. So thank you so much, sir. You can provide this platform and you can support us to amplifying the Mobile Seva platform to reach to the private companies and the startups. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Kapil. I think this has been a brilliant initiative by the government, and I'm personally thankful that at such a short notice, the government listened to our request and opened up this app store for everybody. And I'm sure from the 1,000 government and state government apps, it will now blow up to 10,000 and more now that you opened it up for the Indian startup ecosystem. And that brings me back to Apramya, whose who has been one of the first ones to actually put their app onto this platform. As we talked about digital monopolies, the Indian app ecosystem really faces a very serious challenge from the digital monopolies because of the network effect. Now, in a level playing field, as such, the government cannot really intervene because we are a rule-based society and so on. But however, we do realize that there is something not right going on, because the Indian apps do face discrimination because of being late entrants, not being able to break into the network effect. And therefore, where do you think and how do you think the government can come in and help out with initiatives such as App Store, which is exclusively for Indian players? What are the other initiatives that the government can take up so that it helps players such as Coup and other Indian apps who are facing the network effect?
Yeah, so I think some of the new policies that can be thought of, for example, in retail, like how there is a 49% limit on how much a foreign entity can own an entity here. Similarly, in the digital space, if there is a global tech giant operating in India, making it mandatory for them to also invest and be part of the journey of a local entity, right, which is run by a local Indian entrepreneur, I think will go a long way to start with, right? So for a global entity, whether if it's a search engine, then is there a local search engine that they're promoting as well, by helping with funding or helping with any other way? But I think investing deep investment of a global giant into an Indian entity and helping build that localized version of the tech giant in India, I think will go a long way if we make that kind of like a mandatory thing to do.
Right. So let me, as part of the research that Center for Digital Economy Policy Research did, one of the things we find is that network effects typically are coming in because of monopolistic behavior, which includes lack of interoperability. To give an example, if we allow messaging to be interoperable, then there'll be no one messaging system which has dominant power. Similarly, if you allow interoperability between social media platforms, then there'll be no one social media platform which will be dominant, and therefore there'll be more competition and people will have a choice. Right now, we really don't have a choice. If Facebook or Twitter blocks me, I stay blocked. I am cut off from being able to put my voice in the ecosystem. And it, in a way, violates my fundamental rights to be heard as a free citizen. So in your view, what can the government do to enable or to mitigate the presence of digital monopolies in this country from an interoperability perspective or any other perspective for that matter? I think we would have lost Aprameya. Can you hear us, Aprameya? So I think there's some network effect on Aprameya's side. Can you hear us, Aprameya? So we'll move to Amit and we'll come back to Aprameya when his network is back on. So Amit, we released today's report and on the economic impact of open digital economic systems and what the secretary very eloquently mentioned as that this is moving towards platformization of public systems. So sorry, Aprameya is back. I don't know if you can hear us.
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry.
So yeah, the question was still pending and we want to hear your views. And in the meantime, we move to Amit, but why don't you go ahead and share your views on that issue?
Yeah, so I think, allowing for social media posts to be done in multiple, so if you post on Coup, can this also be posted on other platforms? Now, it's not very straightforward for us to be able to integrate into other platforms. We're not very clear on whether once, some of the platforms which allow us to do it right now, if it starts scaling, will they stop the posting overall? So those are some of the things that we would definitely benefit from a lot of clarity so that there is interoperability. So if somebody gets blocked on one platform, as you said, because of a law that is being followed elsewhere, right? But what they have done is not against the local law of India. So an Indian platform should be able to take that message and still keep it alive and allow the person to be able to reach their followers on an Indian platform. So I think it's extremely important to have localized versions and have international global tech giants also be actively involved in establishing these local alternatives, which is run by an Indian organization.
Right, I think makes sense, Aprameya. So it's more like interoperability between telecom networks. So if they are being forced by the government through a regulatory mechanism to be interoperable, why shouldn't social media also be interoperable? Yeah. Point taken, Aprameya. I think that makes a lot of sense. With that, I'll move to Amit. And Amit, as I was mentioning, that today's report that was launched based on the research done by C-DEP essentially said that there is a 5% addition to the GDP if the government digital systems are opened up. And the secretary echoed that same view and very eloquently said that the platformization is the way forward. How does it impact entities such as EasyGov if there is a large-scale platformization happening of the government digital systems?
Thanks, Ajit, for this report. I think it can't be better than this, and this is we are asking. And this is not only about for the startup ecosystem, but in general, if we have to improve the services, the quality of a service to the common people, especially people at the bottom of the pyramid, and also want to contribute to the GDP. This part is must, and I think if you ask me as a GovTech practitioner, what is the biggest bottleneck? I would say this is the biggest bottleneck, and this needs to be resolved. And I think you already quoted in an example that how opening up IRCTC API helped Rail Yatri to build their business model on top of it. And now I think one feature that I will talk about of Rail Yatri, they used to tell, reading the historic data, what is the probability of getting your ticket confirmed, right? Very, very basic thing that, right, as soon as you open the data, even the RCT didn't know that someone will use this data to tell the predictability about the confirmation of a ticket. And later on, by the way, RCTC also on their platform brought this feature, right? They are also telling now what is the probability. But the point is, because you open the ecosystem, some features got developed and those were very useful for the public. And they cut down some level of what we say the people take advantage of by concealing the information. So similarly, if we open APIs, and then you're sitting in the ministry and Honorable Secretary was sitting next to you, we have an open API policy. Yes. And that is a very old policy, right? But somehow we are not able to make our own government system compliant with that policy. So for example, if I ask Passport Seva, do they have an open API? Answer is no. Such a flagship project, such a great project. And just think, if Passport will open up their APIs, right? What will the impact on the travel industry? How a startup using the open API for Passport and a visa, right? And clubbing with some few more private sector service provider can give a holistic experience to the citizen. Similarly, right, we had like a recent initiative that virtual pen, right? Pen on a click. If you have Aadhaar number, you can kind of get pen in a real time. We are fighting again for that to be open up. If that API is open, all the fintech players, including the insurance and the pension, if they want to capture their customer, they all have an Aadhaar card, but they don't have a PAN card. Right now, they have to tell them that go there on the PAN card portal, get the PAN card and come here. A simple open API would have led this transaction a seamless transaction for a person who doesn't have a PAN card to get a pension account or something. I can go on, right? Pradhan Mantri Kisan Yojana. If there is an open API, how better it can be leveraged for the farmers. If there is an open API for Atal Pension Yojana, if there is an open API for Ayushman Bharat, how much impact it will have on a health sector. So list goes on, right? And something that I think that there is a policy, a ministry acknowledges that, but somehow it is not implemented in all the government portals and the IT systems.
Thank you, Amit. Amit, let me, sorry. Sure. Right. Sorry, I think the secretary wanted to follow up on this workshop. So Amit, as my habit is of putting people in a corner, and I enjoy doing that, let me pose this question to you that, we are requesting the government to help out Indian apps, but are the Indian apps ecosystem helping themselves out? For example, why can't EasyGov coo out the statistics of the various benefits that EasyGov is providing to the various state governments where you're engaged in? So is there any roadmap or plan to do that? And also in a larger question being, how can the Indian app ecosystem work with each other to enrich the lives of Indians and the Indian government?
And that's wonderful. And I keep on looking for a partnership in the app ecosystem. And because we are primarily a government welfare system platform, if anyone who can provide additional service to my customer, because though we can't monetize it a lot being in a government sector, but we have an amazing traction on our platform. Our traction, as you know, that it is more than 100,000 per day, right? And having a 1 lakh people coming on a platform every day, there is a huge opportunity for the monetization. So I always open for that kind of a partnership, sharing the data, getting the data. The purpose is to give a better service to the public. If you ask me, Amit, can you open your data? My first question is what I think we were discussing, for what purpose you want to use my data? If you would say that I want to give a scholarship to those people who are not getting a scholarship because of XYZ reasons, right? Because sometime they do not have any formal record. That's why in the government record cannot be verified. Or sometime, right, they are eligible and verified, but government does not have a budget. So as I said, I will be love to share this data with anyone who can help this people out. They have a huge beneficiary acquisition cost. Their beneficiary acquisition cost is in the range of 500 to 1,000. Right? We will offer at a cost-to-cost basis because the purpose is to touch the lives and help them who need the social protection.
Right. Thanks, Amit. And we almost come to the end of this workshop, but I'm very tempted to ask one question, the same question to both of you. I'll start with Prameya. As Major Vikram Batra had said before he scaled the peak in the Kargil war, Dil Mange More. So we would like to have a similar session happening in some other country where they're cribbing about the digital monopolies coming from India. When does COO become a global entity, and what help do you need for COO to become a global entity? And I'll come to this with the same question to you, Amit, subsequently.
I think, we have the potential to go to every country which has multiple languages or non-English languages. So like in Indonesia, countries in Africa like Nigeria, Namibia, so countries in South America. So all of these countries don't have an open internet in local language, and that's where the opportunity lies. And we've even entered Nigeria, and we're doing our learnings on how to enter, what is Nigeria all about. So we know India a lot better than what we know Nigeria. So I think step one is to make sure that all other countries feel that COO is a force in its home territory, which is India. Everybody uses it, from the common man to the most celebrated celebrities, to the most powerful people, to the government, organizations, to ministries, to everybody is using it, everybody is benefiting from it. So India sets an example for how local language microblogging works on COO. And then everybody else replicates that, right? Because nobody else is providing this. So I think it is a stepwise process, becoming a daily use application in India for everybody, irrespective of who they are, is the first step. Then taking that same concept to every other country, which is, one is the local language approach. Second is, countries which are, talking about global giants being a monopoly in their own countries. Here is a product that will allow you to, kind of like run your own social media, respect the local language, local law, and local culture. And hence you get a breath of fresh air when you use COO versus something else. So I think that's the way to go about it.
Thank you. Thanks, Prameya. That's quite encouraging. Same question to Amit. When do we see EasyGov crossing the borders?
Yeah. So I think I will add on to Prameya and what he just said, right? The local language, cultural diversity, and the scale that we operate in India. It makes us ready for the global market from a day one. Right? So like EasyGov is also available in 10 local languages. The scale that we hit in any state that is sizable to a country. So the good thing is that whatever we built, that is ready for a global market from day one because of the diversity that we have in India, the cultural, the language, and the scale. What support we need? Probably a large product company will not need support, but especially the startup like us will need that support. Because when we try to sell our product that has a global relevance to the countries outside India, there is too much layering on the margin happens. So I will talk about our last 2 deals in Africa, right? Both of them I lost by a margin of around 25% cost. And both of them were funded by the World Bank Social Protection Group projects. Why? Because my Indian partner entity, right? Please excuse me for not taking the name. It is one of the big 4, right? My Indian partner entity they took a margin from on top of it, my product. Then their partner entity in South African country put a margin on top of it. Then because it's a big four, they work with the local player. So the local player entity put out margin top of it. So I placed across cost like X. When it was bidded, it was 3.5X. And I lost by 25% only. Right. So if government can help us, right? And I think we have the example, we are offering CoWIN to everyone in the world, right? As a great thing that we have built. Similarly, I think government should not focus only the one that they have developed by themselves, but whatever the ecosystem has developed, if they treat them like a CoWIN that they have developed, that will be of a great help.
Right. No, thank you, Amit. So the message I'm taking is that we also need an Indian Big Four. And with that, we have kind of completely run out of time. So I would like to thank Sri Ajay Sahni for taking out the time and addressing this session. I would also like to thank Mr. Anil Jain, CEO of Nixie, who could not attend this workshop. But thanks to his leadership, we are able to have this platform and have this conversation. Thank you, Kapil, for walking us through the mSeva platform. We really appreciate the support that you're providing to all of us. And we assure you we'll have more and more startups coming on the government app store that you are running. And thank you, Aprameya. Thank you, Amit, for sharing your views. I would also like to thank Porter and Pranav Goyal, who had to leave in between, for sharing his views. I think this was an absolutely brilliant conversation, very deep insights that we got. And we will be taking these insights and taking it forward with the government to make sure that we have an even more vibrant Indian apps ecosystem, which will again cross the borders and go to the rest of the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you.